Did you know that the biggest problem with tiny houses, that cramped, cave-like feeling that makes people say no, can be completely solved by simply flipping the roof upside down? That is not a metaphor. This is the butterfly roof. Two panels that slope inward to a central valley, instead of outward to an eave. And this single design decision gives you something most tiny house builders never talk about. Real, honest headroom. Floor-to-ceiling windows. A modern silhouette that looks like it belongs on the cover of Dwell magazine. And a built-in rainwater harvesting system that comes free with the design. Today, we're going to build one from the ground up. Every phase, every cost, every smart decision, and every honest trade-off. With real 2026 numbers, not fantasy pricing. If you're new here, hit subscribe right now. We cover tiny house builds, DIY construction, and affordable housing with honest, no fluff information every single week. And stick around to the end of today's video because I am going to show you the one drainage mistake that kills butterfly roofs within 5 years, and exactly how to avoid it. The butterfly roof is not a new idea. It was first sketched by the legendary architect Le Corbusier in 1930 for a vacation home in Chile. It took off in the 1950s during the mid-century modern movement, appearing on some of the most iconic homes in American architectural history, including the famous Doll House in Los Angeles, designed by Pierre Koenig in 1960, with its floor-to-ceiling glass walls and that unmistakable inverted roofline hovering over the Hollywood Hills. For decades, it was a luxury feature. Big budgets, custom architects, professional engineers. But here in 2026, the tiny house community has rediscovered it, and the results are stunning. Here is the basic geometry. A conventional gable roof has two panels that slope away from a central ridge, pushing water outward toward gutters at the edges. A butterfly roof flips that. Two panels slope inward toward a central valley, water channels to the middle, then drains through an internal downspout. That simple inversion creates elevated outer walls on both sides of the structure. And those elevated outer walls are where the magic happens. Tall windows, clerestory glazing, a vaulted ceiling feel, and a building profile that looks nothing like a standard box on wheels. For a tiny house, which is already fighting the perception that it is too small to be livable, this matters enormously. Dimensions and trailer selection. For a tiny house on wheels with a butterfly roof, the most common build footprint is 8.5 feet wide by 24 to 28 feet long. You want to stay road legal, which means no wider than 8.5 feet without a special transport permit. For the trailer, a dual-axle gooseneck or bumper pull trailer designed specifically for residential tiny house loads is non-negotiable. Steel and axle prices have climbed significantly since 2024, and 2026 pricing reflects that reality. Quality trailers designed for tiny houses now range from $7,000 to $15,000, depending on length and weight capacity. A high-end 28-foot gooseneck can easily reach the top of that range. Do not cheap out here. This is the foundation of your entire structure, and it carries everything above it down the road. Roof pitch design. The butterfly roof pitch, meaning how steep the inward angle is, typically runs between 1 in 12 and 4 in 12 for tiny house applications. A steeper pitch gives you more dramatic wall height on the outer edges, but increases material cost and structural complexity. For most DIY builders, a 2 in 12 or 3 in 12 pitch hits the sweet spot between visual impact and buildability. At a 3 in 12 pitch on a standard 8.5 foot wide tiny house, your outer walls can reach 9.5 to 10 feet at the highest point. Your central valley drops to roughly 7.5 feet, compared to a conventional lofted tiny house where interior headroom at the main level is often just 6.5 to 7 feet. You feel that extra space immediately. Structural engineering. This is where I want to be honest with you. The butterfly roof requires more structural planning than a simple shed or gable roof. The inward slope means the central valley bears a concentrated load from water, snow, and the roofing material itself. You will need either a structural engineer to review your plans, or you need to work from a professionally designed set of tiny house plans that already accounts for this. In 2026, there are several tiny house plan sets specifically designed around butterfly roofs. Budget $200 to $800 for a quality engineered plan set. It is one of the best investments you will make on this build. Permits and zoning. Permits for tiny houses on wheels are handled differently state by state and county by county. In 2026, permit costs for tiny houses on wheels and RV classified structures typically run $1,000 to $3,100. Some counties classify tiny houses on wheels as RVs, which changes the permitting pathway entirely. Do your research before you break ground. Call your county planning office and get it in writing. Setting up the trailer. Once your trailer arrives, the first job is to inspect every weld, every axle, and every tie-down point. Before any lumber touches that trailer, level it on your build site. Even a tiny house that will eventually move needs to be framed plumb and square from day one. Small errors at the base become big problems 6 feet up. Install your pressure-treated sill plate directly onto the trailer frame. This is the interface between your steel trailer and your wood framing system. Use appropriate hardware, lag screws or carriage bolts rated for the load, and put a layer of sill gasket tape underneath to block moisture and drafts. Wall framing for the butterfly roof. This is where the butterfly build diverges from standard tiny house construction. Instead of your walls all being the same height, your side walls, the long walls, will be framed to 2 different top plate heights. The outer top plates, on the high ends of each side wall panel, are taller. The inner top plates, at the middle of the structure where the valley will sit, are lower. The difference between those 2 heights is what creates your roof pitch. For a 24-foot long, 8.5-foot wide build with a 3-in-12 pitch, you might frame your outer walls to 9.5 feet and your inner valley support point to approximately 7.5 feet. All wall framing should use 2x6 lumber at 16 inches on center for maximum insulation depth. Roof framing. The roof panels themselves are typically framed with 2x8 or 2x10 rafters, depending on your span. They run from the outer top plate downward to the central valley beam. That central valley beam is the spine of the whole system. It needs to be properly sized for your span, which is exactly why your engineering plans earn their keep. At the valley, you will install a continuous box gutter channel. This is typically formed from galvanized steel or aluminum, sloped at a minimum of 1/8 inch per foot toward your downspout location. The slope in that valley is everything. Without adequate slope, water pools, and pooling water eventually leaks. For sheathing, use 5/8 inch OSB or plywood on the roof panels. This gives you a solid substrate for your roofing membrane and adds structural rigidity to the whole assembly. The roofing material choice on a butterfly roof is more critical than on any other roof style. Because water flows to the center and sits in that valley before draining, you cannot have seams or joints in a high-risk area. This is what limited butterfly roofs for decades. The roofing membranes available in the mid-century era were not reliable enough for the design. Today, 2 materials dominate butterfly roof applications for tiny houses. Option 1. TPO or EPDM membrane. Thermoplastic polyolefin, TPO, or ethylene propylene diene monomer, EPDM, rubber membranes are the most common choice for butterfly roofs with a low to moderate pitch. These membranes are applied as a continuous sheet with no seams in the valley. They handle standing water, freeze-thaw cycles, and UV exposure well. In 2026, installed pricing for TPO membrane on a residential small structure roof runs $7 to $12 per square foot. For a standard tiny house build, that puts your roofing materials and installation in the $1,500 to $3,000 range, depending on your total roof area and labor costs in your region. Option 2. Standing seam metal. For a steeper pitch butterfly roof, standing seam metal is a beautiful and durable option. The standing seams run perpendicular to the valley, and a purpose-formed valley piece handles the transition. Metal is more expensive up front, but extremely long-lasting and gives you that clean modern aesthetic that photographs so well. The valley drain system and the mistake to avoid. Now here is the mistake I promised to tell you about at the start of this video. The single most common failure point on butterfly roofs is an undersized or improperly sloped valley drain. Builders sometimes install the valley gutter level or nearly level because it is easier during framing. But water does not drain from a level surface. It pools, and pooling water, especially combined with leaf litter, pine needles, or any debris that finds its way to your roof, create a system that backs up and leaks, often within 3 to 5 years. The internal downspout on a butterfly roof is sometimes called a scupper or sump drain in construction documentation. Whatever your plans call it, this component needs to be sized correctly for your roof area and installed with a debris screen or leaf guard at the inlet. Do not skip the screen. A clogged sump drain on a butterfly roof is not a minor inconvenience. It turns your roof into a retention pond. The fix is simple but non-negotiable. Your valley gutter must have a continuous slope of at least 1/8 inch per linear foot toward your downspout. Measure it. Check it with a level before you close up the roof. When done correctly, that same valley system becomes a functional rainwater harvesting feature. The central valley can direct roof runoff into a collection tank at the base of the downspout, providing water for irrigation, garden use, or with proper filtration, non-potable household functions. It is one of the most elegant eco-features in residential design. Clerestory windows. The elevated outer walls created by the butterfly roof give you a window placement opportunity that standard tiny house designs simply do not have. Clerestory windows, horizontal window bands installed near the top of those tall outer walls, bring in daylight from high angles, reducing glare while flooding the interior with natural light. In a tiny house, natural light is not a luxury. It is a space multiplier. A well-lit 200 square foot interior feels significantly larger than a dark one. In 2026, windows and doors for a butterfly roof tiny house, including impact-rated glass and purpose-built clerestory units. Budget $2,500 to $8,000 depending on quantity and specification. Fixed-pane clerestory units are less expensive and more airtight. Operable units cost more but improve passive ventilation, a real benefit when you want to flush warm air out of the building without running air conditioning. Insulation. With 2x6 wall framing, you have room for our 21 batt insulation, or better yet, closed-cell spray foam at our 6.5 per inch. For a tiny house, spray foam is worth the extra cost. It seals air leaks and moisture infiltration simultaneously, which matters in a small structure where condensation problems can develop quickly. Closed-cell spray foam in a 2x6 cavity gives you approximately R39 when filled. Roof insulation on a butterfly roof should be continuous above the sheathing as rigid foam, with a minimum of R25 to R30 above the deck in addition to any cavity insulation. This above-deck approach eliminates thermal bridging through the rafters and keeps your interior ceiling dry. Exterior cladding. The butterfly roof pairs beautifully with contemporary exterior materials. Fiber cement panels, corrugated metal, board and batten siding, or a combination of materials all work well architecturally. The elevated outer walls give you more vertical surface to work with, and mixing a lower cladding material with an upper cladding material, say cedar board and batten below and corrugated metal above, creates visual interest that emphasizes the roofline. The butterfly roof interior is fundamentally different from a standard tiny house in one key way. The ceiling follows the roof slope. Both sides of the interior slope upward from the central valley toward the outer walls. This creates a dynamic, angular ceiling plane that makes the space feel substantially larger than its footprint. Living area and kitchen. Place your main living area and kitchen along the portion of the structure where the ceiling is highest, typically near the outer walls. This is where you want to feel the space open up above you. The kitchen on one end, the living area on the other, with the central valley overhead acting as an architectural feature rather than a limitation. Built-in storage runs along the lower sections of the interior where the ceiling slopes toward the valley. Cabinets, shelving, and drawer units tuck naturally into these lower zones, using every cubic inch without fighting the geometry. Sleeping loft. Here is where I need to give you an honest piece of information. The butterfly roof design does reduce traditional loft space compared to a gable or shed roof. The highest points of the structure are at the outer walls, but the roof slopes downward to the central valley, meaning a sleeping loft, if you include one, works best positioned near one of the outer walls where ceiling height is greatest. Some butterfly roof tiny houses skip the sleeping loft entirely and use a ground floor bedroom or a Murphy bed system. This is not a compromise. It is a different but equally valid layout strategy that makes the house more accessible and livable for a wider range of people. Bathroom. The bathroom in a butterfly roof tiny house typically sits at one end of the structure. Standard tiny house bathroom configurations, shower, composting, or conventional toilet, small vanity, work well here. Plumbing rough-in cost typically runs $1,500 to $5,000 depending on whether you are connecting to grid utilities or going off-grid with a composting system and gray water management. Solar panel integration. One of the standout advantages of the butterfly roof in 2026 is solar panel placement. The inward-sloping panels on both sides of the roof create two angled surfaces that can be oriented toward the south, depending on which direction your build faces. This gives you flexible solar mounting options without the aesthetic awkwardness of panels bolted onto a conventional peaked roof. In 2026, lithium iron phosphate batteries, known as LFB, are the standard for off-grid tiny house energy storage. They are safer, longer-lasting, and more stable than earlier lithium chemistries. They're also not cheap. A complete off-grid setup with quality LFP battery storage, an inverter, solar array, and 2 to 3 days of autonomy now runs $6,000 to $12,000. Budget honestly for this if off-grid living is your goal. Let's talk about honest numbers. Here is a verified 2026 cost breakdown for a DIY butterfly roof tiny house built in the 24-foot range. Trailer: $7,000 to $15,000 for a quality dual-axle residential trailer. Framing and structural lumber: $3,500 to $7,000. Roofing, TPO membrane or standing seam metal: $1,500 to $4,000. Windows and doors, including clerestory, $2,500 to $8,000. Insulation, $1,500 to $3,500. Exterior cladding, $1,500 to $4,000. Kitchen and bathroom rough-in and fixtures, $3,000 to $15,000. Electrical, $1,500 to $4,000. Plumbing, $1,500 to $5,000. Permits, $1,000 to $3,100. Plans and engineering, $200 to $800. Miscellaneous and contingency, $1,500 to $3,000. Total DIY range, $25,000 to $85,000, with most quality mid-range builders landing between $40,000 and $60,000. If you hire out the full build to a professional tiny house contractor, 2026 pricing puts a complete turnkey butterfly roof tiny house at $70,000 to $130,000 or more, depending on finish level and builder location. The butterfly roof's additional structural complexity does place it toward the upper end compared to a simple shed roof or gable build of the same footprint. Tiny houses in 2026 cost $200 to $400 per square foot on average. Yes, that is higher per square foot than a conventional house. But the fixed costs of kitchen, bathroom, electrical panel, and HVAC do not scale down proportionally when you shrink to 200 square feet. That is just the honest math of small-scale construction, and any builder who tells you otherwise is selling something. What makes the butterfly roof genuinely great? Headroom and airiness that standard tiny house designs cannot match. Clerestory windows that flood the interior with natural light. A striking modern aesthetic that photographs beautifully. Built-in rainwater collection capability that pairs perfectly with off-grid setups. And excellent aerodynamics in high winds due to the inverted profile. The butterfly roof actually performs well in storms because wind loads push up on the panels rather than lifting them off the way a conventional peaked roof can behave. What to go in with eyes open about. It is more complex to build than a gable or shed roof. You need proper engineering or quality plans. The valley drainage system demands precision and regular maintenance. It is not the right choice for climates with heavy snow unless you are prepared to engineer for the load and clear the valley after major storms. The reduced loft space is a real trade-off, and the costs, as we just covered, are real. The butterfly roof is not the budget build of the tiny house world. It is the one you build when you want something that genuinely looks and feels different. The butterfly roof tiny house is not the easiest build you can take on, but it might be the most rewarding. It solves the number one livability complaint about tiny houses in the most elegant way possible. Not by adding square footage, but by adding volume, light, and a design intelligence that makes every inch of the space feel intentional. if you do the valley drainage correctly, and now you know exactly how. This is a structure that will serve you for decades. It will collect your rainwater, fill your home with light, hold up in the wind, and turn heads wherever you park it. If this video gave you something useful, leave a comment below with the one thing you're most excited to try in your own build. And if you found it helpful, share it with someone who is planning their own tiny house project. It genuinely helps this channel grow, so we can keep making content like this. Hit subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you in the next build.